Hello, welcome back to Farmer's Wife Homestead and welcome back for another video. So today what I am going to do is we are going to be making 3 beef mince freezer meals. Hold please. I have grabbed 2 of my packets of red meat sauce and I've grabbed another couple of just plain minced meat. Of course at the moment we've got lots of venison, so we're using venison, but of course you could use beef. So we are going to make the lasagna that I didn't make in the freezer meal video, so we're going to make that today. And you can also find that recipe, you can find the recipe in the free ebook that goes along with that video, which by now it has been posted in the description of that particular video, but I will link it in the description as well. So for the 3 beef meals that we're going to be making tonight, we're going to do the lasagna, as I said, and tomorrow will be a minced meatball beef stroganoff, well, venison stroganoff, served on some pasta. And then the third recipe is going to be a recipe that I'm going to have to look up. I could probably make the recipe up myself, but there's a particular name for it that I saw Becky make from Homestead, and it was golden crunch or something like that, and it's similar to tacos, but I love the way it was prepared. And she said she grew up with it, and so yeah, I'm going to have to go back to her video and have a look, because I thought, I know a lot of you follow Becky as well, but if you don't, then you can follow along and we'll do the recipe together, because to me that was just, it had all the things that I like. So so we'll be making that recipe as well. Alright, so what I'm going to do with these is, because initially I was going to do the meatball stroganoff, but my meat isn't thawed enough, so I've changed tact and I've grabbed these out. They're still quite, they're a little bit squishy, so, but they're still pretty much frozen. So I'm going to utilize my pressure cooker and bung this into there, and that will thaw it out real quick for us. And then we'll make up a cheese sauce, and then we'll just assemble the lasagna, and that will be tonight's dinner. And I usually make a big huge batch, so we usually have some for lunch the next day, or I could freeze portions as well, so I may even do that. Alright, so let's get down to getting my pressure cooker out. So I just keep mine down here. I love my pressure cooker. I wish I had it when all the kids were younger. In fact, one of my daughters, I said to her, look, you know, she's got a young son, I said, you've got to get yourself a pressure cooker, and she loves it too, although she does admit that she doesn't utilise it as much because she doesn't know what to do with it. So I'm going to try and do more pressure cooker recipes as well. Sorry, plug this in. My Russell Hobbs pressure cooker, I've had it for quite a few years. In fact, they had only just started coming in New Zealand, and they didn't have much around, but I'm saving up to buy an actual instant pot, because I want a stainless steel insert and a bigger one. And this one's getting pretty old and battered. Right, so I'm just going to dump this in here. Now, it will create a bit of fluid itself, but as you know, or might not know, with your pressure cookers you need to make sure that you've got 1 cup of water to create steam. So we'll pop that in and we can just thicken it up as we need to. So I'm going to, let's go with 20 minutes and see how that goes. Manual 20, I'll go, there's 2 big blocks, might do 25. We'll go to 25 and then we'll see what it looks like after that. Alright, let's make up that cheese sauce. So, I need a bit more grated cheese. that won't be enough. Might as well grate what's left of this. I quite like having pre-grated cheese just sitting in there in the fridge. It's been quite good. Right, I've put 50 grams of butter into the bottom of this saucepan, and you're just going to melt that. I've got pen and paper here because I'm writing down the recipe so that I can write out the recipe for you. Because as you know me by now, I'm a bit of this and a bit of that girl. So try and get these recipes for you. I just cook by feel. So I'm just going to grab another cup. Right. Go with, that's about a quarter of a cup. Quarter of a cup. We're going to go with half a cup. Half a cup of plain flour, and you're just going to melt that together. And just cook it for a little bit. Don't let it catch, because then you'll just get a burnt taste. But just keep it sort of moving for a little bit. Now I'm going to grab the milk. Make sure it's still in date. Measuring cup, which I don't normally do. We're going to go with two cups to start with. As I said, this will all be written down. I'm going to take this off the heat. That just got a little bit too hot. Don't stress about it though, it'll be alright. So what you do is grab a whisk. I've got big chunks of flour and all the rest. I'm not stressed about it. So I've got a whisk. See this? How pathetic. I used to have a big industrial chef's whisk, and I think I left it at a kitchen when I was volunteering some catering, doing some catering. So now I don't have a whisk. I've just got the whisk attachment for a hand beater. I just need to buy myself one. And all the lumps are gone now. So that was 2 cups. Now I'm just going to add some pepper. And I like to add a little bit of my favourite Vegeta stock. It gives so much flavour to so many things. So I put half a teaspoon in that. Again, don't be scared of your sauces. Your whisk will sort it out. Right, I'm going to go with another cup. I like to make sure that the sauce is quite nice and thick for my lasagna. Right, so that was 3 cups. We'll see how we go with that. I'm just going to change back to the wooden spoon, my lovely gifted wooden spoon. I'm just going to turn it down because it was on high. Just turn it down to about medium. Just stop it from catching. Right, you can add other flavours to this. You could, it's quite nice with a little bit of chives. If you want to add some chives, some mustard would be quite nice in there. Nutmeg. Nutmeg's nice in a cheese sauce. Right, that's about the consistency that I want. Now I'm going to measure some cheese, which is just sacrilege to me because I measure cheese with my heart rather than by the cup. Amen to anybody else who's the same. So that's 2 cups, you know, generous cups of cheese. I'm just going to turn it right down to sort of low, and we're just going to keep stirring until that cheese melts. I've got a Colby cheese, that was a Colby, but you just use any cheese you like. Parmesan is quite nice in here as well. See how I've gone with measuring out. Needs more cheese. Measuring with my heart is obviously I use more than what I think. So there's another cup there. But of course, if you're running low or you're on a super strict budget, it was more than fine just with 2 cups. You could even use 1 if you'd like to cut down the costs even more. Me today, if I'm going to make a lasagna, I'm going to make it cheesy. Right, it also needs a little bit of salt. About a teaspoon of salt. A little bit more pepper. A little bit more of that stock. Don't worry about keeping up on these ingredients, because it will be listed for you. Mix, mix. Clean spoon. Now that's perfect. Right, can you see that consistency that we've got there? It's like paint. That's what you want. Sauce all done. I'm going to put that aside. Right, so this is still coming up to heat. Move it over. So I've got the toggle on to, you know, sealed. So that's still coming up to heat, so that's still got a wee while to go. But we've got the cheese sauce all done. Just grabbed some lasagna sheets. So I've got some odds and ends in this bag, and then my bag of this beautiful lasagna, which I've been saving for a special occasion. It's beautiful. The bag came open, so I'm going to use up this first, and some of the odd sods from here, and yeah, just use it all up. I'll come back to you as soon as the meat sauce is all heated through and it's nice and hot. Of course, if you had thawed it and it was completely thawed, you wouldn't have to heat it up before you made this. It's completely over to you. If you want to make it and assemble it with the cold thawed red meat sauce, that's fine. You're just going to have to cook it a bit longer, because you're basically cooking it from cold. So where everything I'm going to have is hot, except for the noodles, because I don't cook them. But yeah, we'll come back to it. And I've got a bag of spinach in the fridge as well, which I grabbed to pop into the freezer. So I haven't done it yet. Hopefully it's still good, fingers crossed. And we'll put some spinach in this, because I absolutely adore spinach, and I probably am really lacking iron at the moment, and I know I'm lacking B12. I can just feel it. So yeah, so we'll do that. Right, so I'll come back and I'll see you shortly. Right, this has gone off finally. I'm just going to move it away from the venting from my plant there. Let that vent away, and I'm going to grab my casserole dish, and then I will bring you down and we will prepare the lasagna together. Right, I can see that because I added the water, it's just a little slightly looser than what I want. So to counteract that, all I need to do is pop in some extra tomato paste. So I'm just going to pop in some tomato paste, let that thaw through, because I do pucks of tomato paste. and then we'll come down and get it all together. I'll just put 4 pucks into there. Right, I've got everything there. Just going to pour a little bit of the sauce on the bottom. So sauce. Dried lasagna sheets. I'll just try and use up all the broken pieces as well. And then I'm going to put down some more sauce. And you want to make sure that all the dry pasta has a little bit of sauce on it, because that's what will help cook the dried noodles. So just make sure that it's had a little bit of the sauce on it. And now I'm going to grab some spinach. I've just washed that up. And then I'm going to top with just a drizzle of the cheese sauce. And then just repeat, but because it had all the broken ends here, I'm going to start with not broken ends on this side, if that makes sense. I like to try and do 3 layers if I can. Right. I ended up thickening the sauce a little with some corn flour and water. Also called it corn flour slurry, what I call a corn flour slurry. And some spinach. Of course this will wilt down to practically nothing. And some people use ricotta and all that sort of stuff. I've never had a ricotta lasagna. If I can't be bothered making a cheese sauce, I sometimes just do dobs of cream cheese. It's really yummy. And again, broken ends, so we'll just go with those long bits. And some longer bits there. She ain't pretty, but it's going to taste nice. So I'm just going to finish with a sauce. And the rest of the cheese sauce. Right, that's looking delicious. And then some cheese. Again, measure with your heart. Right, I'm going to put a baking paper on top. So that stops the cheese sticking to the tin foil. And then the tin foil. Don't not do this step, because the steam that it creates is what helps cook the uncooked noodles. So you can see how quickly you can pull a lasagna together without having to cook the noodles as well. So I'm just going to chuck that in the oven. And I'm going to put it on for 45 minutes. So I've put it on 180 fem bake for 40 minutes, and once the 40 minutes timer goes off, I will check, and I'll take the top off and I'll check and see how far off the noodles are cooked. And what you're wanting to do is get, say, a knife, sharp knife, and then just poke it into the lasagna, and if the lasagna noodles aren't cooked, you could still be able to feel them. But if they're cooked, you won't be able to feel them. The knife will just go straight down. You'll feel a little bit of resistance if it's not cooked. Yeah. Alright, so we'll give it 45 minutes and we'll come back, by which way the family's probably going to be home, and I will just do voiceover for the rest of it. And it's very important that you leave the lasagna to sit for a good probably 15 to 20 minutes. It will still stay piping hot, just so that it can set. If you try and cut into your lasagna straight away, it's just going to go everywhere. Alright, so I will see you back shortly, and then otherwise I will see you tomorrow for another dinner of, we're going to do the stroganoff. Right, I'm just going to check it. I'm going to put it on a wooden board. Oh, she's a juicy, nice, juicy one. Yeah, I can still feel a slight give. So, only slightly though. So I'm going to leave the top off now. I'm going to pop it back in. I may not have to use a spoon, but it's still creaky. There, and we'll cook it for maybe another 15 to 20 minutes. Right, it's come out super hot. I hope that's picking up that crackle. Now on the top here you can see there's a little bit of cheese oil. What you can do is grab yourself a paper towel and just blotch that on the top, and that just soaks up a little bit of that oil. Alright, now as I said before, it needs to sit a good 20 minutes. I'm just going to cover it and leave it, and then we'll cut it once it's cooled down.
Hey, good looking. What you got to cooking?
Good morning, it's the next day and we had that delicious lasagna. It was so good, and because it's such a large one, we do have a few pieces left, which is all good and fine because one of them will be my lunch. Now today we are going to be making the meatball stroganoff, and we're going to be serving it on some pasta. And I thought I might make the other recipe up today as well and sort of meal prep, and then I don't have to cook for the next two days, which would be quite nice. Been on my feet for a couple of days, so yeah, it'd be nice to just have these meals all prepped, ready to go. So let's get on with it. I'm going to get out some of the fresh venison. Of course, you can use beef, and I'm sure you could use chicken mince as well. I reckon chicken meatball stroganoff would be really nice. I'm going to try that one day. So yeah, let's get all the ingredients for the meatballs, and then we will cook them on the stove top, and then we'll make the sauce. And of course I know, you know, the ingredients that goes into a stroganoff, so I'm just going to do it as I film, and then I've got my little pad of paper here, and then I'll write down all the instructions for you. Right, I've got everything laid out. So I've got roughly about 1 kilo of mince here, and I'm going to add, just get myself a teaspoon, I'm going to add some garlic powder, or you can just use your normal garlic. I'm going to put maybe about 1.5 teaspoons. And I've got some dried home parsley, so I'm going to pop that in there. Also going to put a little bit of oregano, a teaspoon of salt, some pepper, about 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, and I'm using some dried onions simply because I can't be bothered cutting up some onions or grabbing some from the freezer. So I'm just going to pop that in, but of course you could use fresh or frozen. Now I've got a video on making some powders, and this is my mushroom powder. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of that to this mix because it'll be nice. Actually, I might do 1.5 teaspoons of the mushroom powder. I will link that video in the description and at the end of this video if you want to make it yourself. It's so simple to make, and it just really gives beefy type meat some really nice flavour. So that's that. We need 1 egg. And I think that's it. Oh, paprika. I'm out of paprika. This used to be full. I don't know who used it, but it's now empty. So I need to go and buy some. Right. I think what's happened is that somebody has thought it was something else and used it. I'm not sure. I don't know how a whole jar disappears, but it did. So I'm just going to get in with my clean hands and mix this all together. So that's all the meatballs. Sorry, the meat is all mixed, and I've just got a big stainless steel frying pan on my hot plate, and we will roll the balls up, and I'm just going to put a little bit of oil and then roll the balls up and then start cooking them. And we're just going to make sure that all the sides are sort of cooked. You don't have to worry about thoroughly cooking that because it will also cook on the sauce, but I'll bring you down and I'll show you what I'm doing. So I'm just grabbing a couple of tablespoons of good oil, and just going to do little ball sizes, and it helps to have wet hands, so I'm just going to wet my hands. Of course, you can just use whatever amount mince to suit your size family, and you could always make the meatballs ahead of time. But I've used all mine now. Need to get some more back in the freezer. But try and make them around the same size. So that's all of them, and giving it some good time to get some caramelization on one side, and then I'm just moving them without having to touch them so that they get browned on all sides. Now I'm just going to get a bowl to put these in once I've browned all these sides. Put that aside. Okay, so these are browned on all sides. Now I'm just going to pop them into another bowl. Right, so they've all been put aside, and now if you look, I've got all these lovely umami crispy bits, and what we're going to do is I've thinly sliced 2 onions. I'm just going to break these up. And once these start sweating, it'll bring up all that flavour, all the crispiness, and that's going to make for a really nice sauce. So I'm just going to grab a little tuck of my garlic. Put that in there. Probably about 3 cloves or 2 teaspoons. I've got all the windows and doors open today because it's so mild and I want to air out the house, and I can't believe it, but I've got big flies coming in. I mean, come on, it's winter. Just keep an eye on that. Add the mushrooms and just cook these down a little bit as well. Okay, now I'm going to start scraping the bottom. See how brown the water has become? That's purely all that flavour coming up from the bottom. In essence, it's making its own stock, really. I'm just going to go along and try and pick everything up. Right, I can feel I've got everything up there now. So we're just going to turn that back up. I'm going to put in some more of my mustard powder concentrate. We'll go with 2 teaspoons. It's got salt in there as well, so I'm not going to add some more salt at this point. And I'm also going to put a teaspoon of garlic powder as well as the, you know, the frozen powder. And I've got some oxo cubes, which is dried beef stock over here. So I'm just going to pop 2 of those in, or you could use 2 teaspoons of dried beef stock, or if you want to make it vegetarian, obviously you can make vegetarian meatballs and use a veggie stock. Instead of 2 cups of water, feel free to use 2 cups of beef stock instead. Alright, so come out. Need some pepper. And we'll pop some parsley in there as well. So we're just going to stir all that stock into there. And we're going to pop the meatballs back in along with any juices and just nestle those meatballs. In there, and just going to turn that back down to a medium heat and we'll let the meatballs cook. So I'm just making sure that I'm turning these meatballs in the sauce a little bit, but be very careful not to break them up, just so that they cook evenly within the sauce. So roughly about 5 or 7 minutes, and then I'll show you the next step. It's been about 7 minutes and these are thoroughly cooked. Now I'm just going to turn this all off and we're going to do the next steps closer to dinner time, like it's in the morning at the moment. So I'm just going to let this all cool down and then we will reheat it, add the last few ingredients and cook the pasta and serve it. Alright, so I'll bring you back shortly. So I've got the meatball stroganoff all the way up on the stove, and I'm just heating that up, and I'm about to cook some pasta. So this is the pasta I'm using. It's a curly fettuccine, but you can use any type of pasta that you would like. Now I'm just going to finish off this by adding half a cup of cream, and half a cup of sour cream. And I'm just going to mix that through. And then once that heated through, we will make a corn flour slurry and thicken it up slightly. But you could add a little more sour cream if you like yours quite, you know, with a sour cream tang, which I do, so I will probably put a little bit more than half a cup. Now I'm just going to taste the sauce. Because I have a feeling that I want to add a little bit of lemon juice. Yeah, I'm going to add a squeeze of lemon juice. I don't know why, but I just feel it needs it. And that's the thing with cooking. I always go with my gut. So that's just half a small lemon. I'm going to test it again and see what a difference it made. Oh yes, perfect. Just needed that hint of lemon. Yum. Right, I'm just going to make up that slurry and then thicken it slightly. Don't want it really overly thick because we just want to help it coat the pasta. So that lemon juice also helps to thicken up the sauce because we've put bit of the cream in there. I actually went with, I'm just going to try a tablespoon of corn flour and a tablespoon of water to start with. We'll start with that. Oh, it's going everywhere. I'm making a big mess. I don't even like mushrooms, but I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, I think that's perfect amount of thickness for my liking. Try it again. Oh, that's sensational. Sensational, honestly. That is divine, and I love the added taste of the fresh citrus. It just took it to a whole nother level. That is done. Just waiting for the pasta. Right, so I've just turned that right down. That thickness is perfect. And if you've got some fresh parsley, put some fresh parsley over it now. I'm going to take that off the heat. Right, sorry for the barking, but husband is moving some sheep. So I've just, I've put some, because I'm just plating up some now, so that I can finish this video. So basically you're just going to coat the pasta with the sauce. Look at that, and I can tell you right now it is delicious. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm going to turn around. This is another shut the front gate. And like I said, I hate mushrooms. So good. Definitely give this one a go. Alright, so the next recipe was, I was watching Becky at Acre Homestead the other day, and she showed a recipe called Crunch Wrap Supreme, and I thought, oh my goodness, that looks so good. Never heard of it over here in New Zealand. So I thought, yep, no, going to definitely try that. So I grabbed the recipe that she linked, and we're going to give that a go right now. So the first thing I'm going to do is brown the minced venison. Yeah, you use beef if you have beef. That's all browned. I've got my homemade nacho seasoning mix, so I'm going to add some of that into it next. It doesn't have it in the recipe, but I'm going to make this more into a taco seasoning rather than just have the dry ground beef. I'm going to put a little bit of a couple of pucks of my tomato paste and a little bit of water, so that it's just got a slight sauce to it rather than it be all dry. Although you do use nacho cream, nacho cheese, which I believe is like a cheese sauce. So yeah, I don't have any of that, so I might make up a little quick cheese sauce as well. The only other thing is that the recipe says 12-inch flour tortillas, and I only have these smaller ones, and I looked at it, and 12 inches is roughly 30 centimeters, and I think these were about 20 centimeters, so they're not big enough. But I did have this keto pizza ultra thin and crispy bases. That's the size, so I'm just going to use that. And I managed to pick up some tostadas, which I've never seen or eaten before. So there is a 24 pack, and they've got a couple of different flavors. So got that. I'm going to shred up some lettuce. I think I might have a tomato. I'll have to check. I might not have any tomatoes. Yeah, so that's, but I'm going to link the actual recipe in the description. So I'm just going to grab that. Oh, do I think I've got like about a kilo of mince here, whereas the recipe is a pound, which is about 500 grams. So put that in and a little bit of water, and we'll just cook that down until it's nice and saucy and heated through. Smells good. So this will be tomorrow night's dinner, but we'll try one for my lunch today. Water. About half a cup. And I'm just going to make up a quick cheese sauce as well. It's got a slight tomatoey look to it. It's glossy. It's not all dry. So yeah, made that change. I'm just making a little cheese sauce, really thick cheese sauce. I've done that. I don't know that we've got nacho cheese sauce over here. I haven't really looked, but yeah, just a nice, really big, thick, gloopy cheese sauce. Okay, turn that off. Now I need my frying pan again, so I'm going to pop all that mince into a bowl. I'm just going to shred up some lettuce. I've got an iceberg lettuce here, but any crunchy lettuce will be fine. And I did have some tomatoes, slightly past their best, but it will work just fine. We just want to dice. So that's, I got these at Woolies in New Zealand. Oh, it's cool, comes with its little bag tie. Right, okay, let's put one of these together. Take one of the wraps. And I've just got my pan heating up on a medium heat at the moment. I've put a tablespoon of oil in that hot pan, in the pan as well. Right, so working one at a time, place ground beef mixture in the center of each tortilla. So we've got I suppose you want as much as the tostada is. So I've got that, and then top with the nacho cheese. And the tostada shell. So that's just one of them. Well, I just know I'm going to love this. Spread sour cream in an even layer over the tostada. It's my favourite sour cream over here. It's beautiful and thick. I love sour cream, so I'm going to add a bit of it. That, and then top with lettuce and tomato. I suppose you wouldn't really want it to be too thick either. And then some cheese. Yum! And I'm going to top with a little bit of salt. Now fold the edges up over the center. there. Work your way around the tortilla, folding as much as possible. I think I'll do it how I had it, which is that way. Alright. Now I'm going to assume that I'm going to do this side first. So I've put the folded side down first. So the meat's already hot. So we're just going to toast it now. I'll just turn it up to a medium high. And the recipe says heat remaining, place warm, wrap seam side down and cook until the underside is golden brown, about 2 minutes. Flip and cook, wrap on the other side about 1 or 2 minutes longer. Serve immediately. So I'll just keep an eye on it. Starting to get toasty. Now I've just flipped it. I'll probably do this side a little bit longer as well, but I've just flipped it for now. Make sure that the oil is in the middle as well. I just know I'm going to love this. It's all beautiful and brown. Just finishing off the seam side. Just about another 30 seconds. I'm only going to cook that one. Look at that. That looks so delicious. I'm going to let it cool down slightly and then we'll try it together. Right. I'm going to bite into it. I want to try and get a bit where I get everything. Wow. So good. My family's going to love this. Any Kiwis watching? You have to try this. So good. So good. Alright. I hope you enjoyed these 3 recipes. And I will have everything linked down in the description of the video as usual. And thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye for now.